The world of global finance holds its breath. If you thought President Donald Trump's trade war was chaotic, brace yourself. His latest move is a seismic threat to the economy. A storm is brewing, and it's unlike anything we've seen before. For months, Trump swore he'd never fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. But on Thursday, April 17th, 2025, he flipped the script. With a single post, he declared Powell's termination couldn't come soon enough. The markets shuddered. Stocks plummeted. A sharp gasp from Wall Street as investors felt the ground shift beneath them. Then came a fleeting pause. A 3-day weekend, the first warm, sun-drenched spring days in New York City this year. Traders sipped coffee, strolled Central Park, and wondered, was this just Trump's usual bluster? A tantrum from a president known for fiery outbursts? Surely, his steadier advisors would step in, douse the flames, and prevent a full-blown panic. Or would they? Monday morning, the stock market opened, and Trump struck again. Another attack on Powell, this time for not slashing interest rates fast enough. The response was swift. Stocks tumbled further. The U.S. dollar sank to its lowest level in 3 years. A chill settled over the trading floors, a realization that this was no mere outburst. This was escalation. Trump's tariff plan has already sown disruption. Its uncertainty a dark cloud over global markets. Yet, to some extent, Wall Street had adapted, pricing into chaos. A 90-day pause on the administration's most aggressive tariffs had offered a sliver of hope, a sign Trump might back off if the backlash grew too loud. But this is different. Attacking the independence of Federal Reserve is a reckless leap into uncharted territory. Few thought it possible. Even Kevin Hassett, a White House advisor who wrote a book arguing against firing the Fed chair, now admits the administration is openly discussing it. They're weighing whether to oust Powell before his term ends a year from now. Could these threats be empty? Perhaps Trump is venting or setting up Powell as a scapegoat for a tariff-driven recession. Krishna Guha, vice chairman at Evercore ISI, warns it's a dangerous game. This is self-defeating, he says. By undermining Powell, Trump fuels inflation fears, making it harder for the Fed to cut rates at all. The very thing he demands slips further out of reach. Let's be clear. The legal question of whether Trump can fire a sitting Fed chair is murky. It's debatable, a gray area in the law. But legality isn't the point. The damage is already unfolding. Here's why this fixation on Powell, whom Trump himself appointed in 2017, is so alarming. The Federal Reserve is America's economic lifeline, an independent body. It sets monetary policy, wielding the power to cushion massive shocks, a pandemic, a trade war recession. The Fed absorbs these blows through interest rates and its vast balance sheet, a shield against collapse. Remember 2022 and 2023? Inflation surged and the Fed fought back, raising rates at a historic pace. Mortgages, credit cards, auto loans, they all spiked, deepening America's affordability crisis. President Joe Biden wasn't thrilled, but the Fed stayed the course. It tamed inflation, bringing it near normal without tipping the economy into recession. A masterclass in steady resolve. Strip away that independence, and you cripple the Fed's ability to keep prices stable. Erasmus Kirsting, an economics professor at Villanova, puts it bluntly. Fighting inflation demands being non-political, non-partisan. Without that, the temptation to juice the economy for political wins takes over. Populist leaders, time and again, have succumbed. The result? Runaway inflation that's nearly impossible to stop. Presidents love rate cuts. They spark growth, put money in pockets, win votes. But they also stoke inflation. If the public and global investors lose faith in the Fed's will to fight it, that inflation becomes a wildfire, uncontrollable, devastating. The Fed is a bulwark against Trump's economic whims. He wants faster rate cuts, but the Fed's caution isn't arbitrary. It's a response to his own tariff agenda, which, as Powell noted last week, is highly likely to spark at least a temporary surge in inflation. The irony is stark. Trump's demands are sabotaged by his own policies. Installing a Fed chair who takes orders from the White House would shatter the credibility of the world's most powerful central bank. America's status as the safest haven for money and investments would erode. The economy would suffer. Cutting rates too fast, too deep, could reignite inflation just as tariffs choke growth. The Fed's own GDP Now tool already predicts the economy contracted last quarter, a warning of what's to come. If Trump were to actually try firing Powell, an outcome Evercore analysts call unlikely, the fallout would be catastrophic. Guo warns of stagflation trades, a toxic mix of slow growth and soaring prices, straight out of the 1970s playbook. Bond yields would spike, making home and car loans even costlier. Panic would grip markets. A recession would be all but certain. This is the edge we stand on. Trump's attacks on the Fed aren't just about one man or one chair. They're about the fragile trust that holds the global economy together. As the markets waver and the dollar slides, the world watches, holding its breath, wondering what comes next.